The following recording is a production of Kickin' Out at 2 in conjunction with the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network and is intended for private use only. For more information, head on over to facebook.com/Kickin' Out at 2 or our Twitter handle @Kickin' Out 2, along with searching Retromania with a W on any and all podcast platforms available to listen to archive shows such as this and all the great content of the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. Evergreen content at your fingertips anytime at your listening pleasure. And with that being said, we thank you for listening and hope you enjoy the show. Good God Almighty, they killed him. As God is my witness, he is broken in half. Famous last words from one of the all-time greats, Jim Ross, as we celebrate the Mankind Undertaker-Hell in the Cell match from King of the Ring 1998. 25 years to the day here on Kickin' Out at 2. We're going to be watching that match with all of you on the Peacock. And joining me to partake in this celebratory watch-along, especially for this match, couldn't do it without anybody else. My co-host, my co-pilot, my wild card, Dennis J. Levy. What's up, buddy?
Chillin', I've been waiting since day one of this podcast.
Not since day one. Come on.
I didn't remember seriously that we were talking. It was me, you, and your brother at the time, and before we made the podcast, our first podcast together. We were just talking. Maybe you don't remember, but I remember. We were talking about future podcasts, and I'm like, don't you fucking dare do the one, do the Hell in the Cell, Mankind Undertaker without me. So this is like,
you know what? You might be right. I don't remember.
4 years or whatever the fuck.
Okay.
In the making, and I'm very excited about this day.
Yeah, you know what? You might be right. I will gladly admit that you might be right on this one. 25 years, and we're going to talk a lot about the violence factor and how this match really set the bar high and cleared the bar for violence in wrestling. Talk a little bit about the Mankind Undertaker rivalry then and now, your thoughts when we watched it back then as to now, and so much more here on Kickin' Out at 2. Thank you all for pressing play, downloading, liking, subscribing, rating, reviewing, doing all that jazz to listen to us here on Kickin' Out at 2. So what I'm going to have you guys do, first and foremost, I'm going to have you go to your Peacock, and you're going to search for King of the Ring. And it's Season 6, Episode 1, and what I'll have you do is I'll have you fast forward to 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 55 seconds, and then I'll give you a countdown. When I say play, press play, and do all that jazz. But while you guys are doing that, Dennis, I wanted to discuss with you just briefly this King of the Ring pay-per-view. Because this pay-per-view, this match is what most people remember this pay-per-view for, but this was also the same event where Kane defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin in a First Blood match to become the WWF champion, as well as Ken Shamrock winning the King of the Ring. So first, I want to get your thoughts on Shamrock as King of the Ring, and what were your thoughts on that back then and now, as well as your thoughts on the Kane-Steve Austin main event that took place on this card.
I love Ken Shamrock. So with him finally winning King of the Ring, I was like, finally, they're gonna push him to the moon. They kind of did, but like I always thought that at the end of the day, one of the biggest missed opportunities was Ken Shamrock. Like if Ken Shamrock,
Ken Shamrock as champion,
Ken Shamrock as potentially WWE champion.
Okay,
that was something I always wanted to see, and no one can convince me if Ken Shamrock's prime in the UFC was 2006. He would have got the Brock Lesnar spot. That no one can convince me otherwise.
That's a good point.
They should. I just didn't know. My opinion. I just didn't know. I just think WWE just had too many cooks in the kitchen, and they're like, "What are we supposed to do with this fucking awesome guy?" It's
like you think there was too many good guys
absolutely.
On the top spot
in
that
just
main
wrong
event.
era, wrong time. USC was still like, what the fuck is this shit? It's awesome. Like
it's still illegal in a lot of states.
Yeah. There's no kidding. I implore anybody who was born from 2000 on or whatever, so you kind of missed the boat. Go to YouTube and look up USC 1996. that was a different animal. Now, we're talking about dudes that were just literally like, they were lucky. No,
it was a free-for-all. I've seen some old UFC stuff. It was a free-for-all.
It's bananas.
Guys, there were guys that looked like that they were legitimate athletes, and there were other guys that looked like they just dragged them out off the top of a bar stool and put them in the octagon.
It was always funny that my favorite ones, and are I guess a potential like jobber match per se, is like you see this guy in like this full karate outfit, with the black belt, with the
He's got the whole gear.
Yeah, you got the whole get up, right?
Yep.
And then you got a guy just without a shirt, showing his 6-pack. That guy without a shirt, 100 times, kicked the shit out of those guys. It was just funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's this karate guy about to get his leg broken.
Yeah.
But anyway, I played one to it. If you never had the opportunity to watch it. It's pretty fucking wild. There's no technique. Just punches in the face, kicks in the face, broken limbs. It was just bananas.
It's interesting you brought that Shamrock, the Brock Lesnar spot. Had he been, Shamrock had a very short run in the WWF. It was, just a couple of years. And he, was a legitimate mixed martial artist. And he had credibility and he had charisma and he had, the audience loved him.
Yeah.
Even when he was a bad guy, he didn't have that, like, what they call that X-Pac go-away heat. Like, people didn't, they disliked him, because he played a good heel. He was like a bully. With the mixed martial art persona. So, Shamrock had a good run. I'm with you. They missed the boat on potentially putting him as the champion. There was one time where I thought that they were really going to go with him, and that was the fall of '98 after he had won the after he won the King of the Ring. He challenged Steve Austin to a match, and they had a match on Raw for the championship. And it was stemmed from Shamrock feeling like he was, getting hosed out of title opportunities, especially after winning the King of the Ring. And so Shamrock and that was the start of Shamrock's heel turn at that point too. But yeah, I agree with you. Shamrock, he was definitely he was definitely a missed opportunity in the WWF. Kane beating Austin later that night at King of the Ring. First Blood.
Oh, I hated it. And a buddy of mine that kind of gave my head a shake. That afterwards, it was like spoiler that Austin wins it literally the next night later. And I'm talking to the boys like, what the fuck was that? Kane wins the title, loses the next night. What the fuck was that about? And a buddy of mine goes, did you really think King was going to set himself on fire, you motherfucker? And it's like, they put him...
They booked themselves into a corner with that, yeah.
How stupid was that?
Yeah,
but anyway, so I get why they had to do it.
They booked themselves into a corner.
Why say that then?
But at the same time, there was still intrigue in it because it made people buy the pay-per-view like, all right, Austin was the hottest thing. Are they going to have Austin lose the title? Or is Kane really going to set himself on fire? But at the same time, a few months prior, they had the Inferno match, and Kane's arm was on fire.
That's a good point.
The possibility was there.
Yeah.
It was a good hook and a good intrigue. And I'll talk more about as we go on with this watch along. Hopefully, everyone's caught up by now. 1 hour, 46 minutes, 55 seconds. I'm going to give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, play. And when I say play, you press play. And from time to time, I'll give you a timestamp. Play the audio. I'm definitely going to play the audio for the first spot when Foley gets thrown off the cell. And the famous last words were from JR. Good God Almighty, they killed him! So yeah, I'm going to do that. But anyways, hopefully you're all there. Ready, Dennis?
Ready.
All right, let's do it. 1 hour, 46 minutes, 55 seconds. 3, 2, 1, hit play. As we see the Hell in the Cell coming down. Now, all right, I want to ask you. We watched the very first Hell in the Cell on the 25th anniversary with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. You said on that recording that match was the greatest Hell in the Cell match of all time, and Kane's introduction into that match is probably the greatest debut of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Which, hard not to argue either of those points. Back 25 years ago, if you can remember.
Yep.
as this match was announced, okay, now Undertaker and Mankind had some classics on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But never a Hell in a Cell. As we see a picture of a fan holding up a sign that says First Blood with a drawing,
looks like
drawing of Austin and
anyway.
Kane, which actually is pretty good. But anyways, do you remember, what were your thoughts on when they booked this match as a Hell in a Cell match? Did you think that they were going to be able to top the Undertaker-Shawn Michaels match?
I won't lie, by this point, as much as I love Mankind and I was kind of done with Undertaker Mankind.
Really?
I think most people were by this point. That this is why this is kind of like, even if this was a stinker, I still think this was going to be the last time Mankind and Undertaker were going to wrestle for a long time. I think people have just had enough of them. I don't know. I just remember that was my personal opinion.
That was your opinion at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. It added another wrinkle to their rivalry, I'll say, as I remember. But here's something that I wanted to ask you. You just said you love Mankind.
Yep.
Heel Mankind was your favorite. What was it about the rivalry with him and Undertaker that in '96 that you really enjoyed the most? What attracted you to the character?
Well, right off the bat, you didn't know who Mankind was. It just and it's right off the bat. It's boom. They pushed him with the Undertaker, and obviously the contrast. It's like what's Undertaker's number one weapon? To get in your head. The
mind games.
Yeah, the beat you before the bell even rings, right? Mm-hmm. This fucking guy, he loved that. Yeah. The Undertaker's mind games made him more powerful.
So he thrived off of Undertaker's mind games.
Exactly.
Okay.
He made the Undertaker ace in the hole, like his kryptonite. It was incredible to watch.
I got another question for you. You just said it. Nobody knew who Mankind was. So were you not aware at the time of his debut that he once portrayed Cactus Jack?
You know, when you hear something funny, it took me a long time.
Really?
A long time. And it was like I was watching an ECW tape, and I'm like, oh my god, is that Mankind?
The voice sounded familiar.
Yeah. It was those punches.
Oh, when he punches and he makes it sound.
I'm like, how did I recognize that? Oh, once you got it, you got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took me a good year. I won't lie.
So what did you? So you didn't realize it, but what did you think? Like, did you think less of the Mankind character? Or did you think less of the Cactus Jack character?
Oh, absolutely not. I tipped to the hat so the guy could have so many layers to his character.
So you liked it.
I loved it.
Yeah. See, I think I've said this before. I wasn't the biggest fan of Mankind early on. I've grown to appreciate the character, especially during the early incarnations against Undertaker and the matches that they had. And of course, I've always been a big Cactus Jack fan. That's just who he's been, my guy. For the longest time. Now, what's your take here on, as we're seeing Undertaker make his way down to the ring, what was your take here on them starting on top of the cage?
I thought it was kind of crazy that looking back now, that it was like, it's unbelievable that they just started going, 0 to 60 just like that. But I kind of wish. I'm pretty 99% sure I saw this either live or on that Tuesday.
The Tuesday replay.
Anyway, I saw it without knowing the result, and I'm like, so they obviously it just takes 10 seconds when they throw him off the cage. I'm just like, the match is over already. I still think I felt then. I still feel now. I wish that they built up to this spot instead of just going right to it. Like you know what I mean? Like start in the ring, they go on the top. Within 2 minutes.
I think Foley has said in previous interviews that the psychology behind starting at the top was doing something different than the first one with Undertaker and Shawn. Because Undertaker and Shawn, they built towards them getting up top. Let's play the audio here and I'll get back to that statement in just a moment. Undertaker and Mankind fighting on top of the cage.
Your blood curl. That is puts goosebumps on my back there. It makes the hair on my neck stand up. I like it. They're fighting on a steel roof of this cell. They use that's a steel chair that Mankind is using. Look at this, it broke through. It broke through. That's a lot of weight. There's 200-300 pounders up there. They're destroying that hell in the cell. And my God, don't get them over here where we are. What's going to happen here? Undertaker fighting back. He's fighting back. Get around the belly, folks. And I don't like the damn bit. Oh my God.
All right. I had to get that line in there. Holy shit. So now this is a period of time in the match where, all right, you said you weren't sure if you watched this live or whatever, but you watched it not knowing the results.
Yeah.
I read the results. I didn't get it live. I read the results the night it happened, and I just so happened to convince my mother to get the replay. I think my father was away on business. Usually mom was the one that was easier to manipulate when it came to ordering the wrestling pay-per-views.
My same situation.
And I sold her on it with, but Mom, I'm not in school. I was going to be, was it 98? So I just finished my freshman year in high school. I was like, Mom, I'm not in school. I don't got anywhere to go the next day. Can I, get the replay? I'll pay you my, I used to get allowance from my aunt. My aunt used to ask me to bring up her garbage cans to the curb once a week. So I'd get like $5 for doing that. So I was like, I'll get you my allowance. It was like, $25 for the $30 for the pay-per-view, whatever it was. So, Mom, I sold her on the fact that it's not a school night, it's summertime. And she was like, okay. So I bought the replay, taped it, and for this moment, for this match here, hearing about what happened, your initial thoughts on this first bump that he took here off the top through the table?
Well, I thought it was over, so I was like, I was disappointed at the time, but I'm like, I mean, that was the same one we just watched, but
yeah.
Like, it's over? That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you would think, looking at it, like, yeah, it's over. I mean, it got a huge pop. Audience went crazy for it. And judging by, the nature of it with all these guys out here, the officials, you see Terry Funk out there.
The mask is off.
The mask is off. They show the replay again here. Yeah, you would think that the match is over, but we would be dead wrong. And we'll see that minutes later. I mean, to the point where Vince comes out. He'll make an appearance at some point on camera here. And from what I've read in Foley's book, I've read it elsewhere, everybody thought this match was over legitimately. And, Foley obviously had other plans in mind. Here's a question.
Yeah.
25 years later, had the match ended at this point, they just threw him off the top, would this Hell in the Cell and would Mick Foley, would it be as revered as it is today?
That's a great question. That spot itself is just, I mean, like,
because there's two other major spots in this match that people talk about as well, but we'll get into that shortly.
This is not even the worst spot. The other spot, in my opinion, is 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah, the cage is rising. Is the Undertaker still in the cage?
He's still on top of the cell, yeah, as they're raising the cell so that the EMTs can help tend to Mick Foley. So you're not sure if this would still be looked at as
really, really hard to say. Like, I would say no, to based on it would still be revered. That spot itself,
The spot itself.
I didn't think the spot. It'll be remembered for the spot. I think that's what they're call it. Oh, the Mick Foley spot. You know what I mean? It's now, it would have been the 98 Hell in the Cell.
Yeah. Okay. Did at the time when you watched this, did you ever feel like, oh shit, they went too far? Like, did you ever feel like a sense of like, all right, I know this stuff, I know the stories are make-believe and, you know, but the physicality is real, but like, did you think like as you're watching this, like at least at this point in time, after the first bump, that like, all right, they might have gone a little too far?
I actually was naive. I'm like, oh, he's safe. He's a wrestler. It was planned. Like they had some kind of
padding underneath the table,
or whatever under the table and stuff like that. When he went through the cage, and like you just saw just like that, his eyes. I'm like, either he's the greatest actor in history of mankind, or this motherfucker is fucked.
Yeah.
Like that's when. And when he got up, it's like, all right, yeah, he's okay. It was fake, you know.
Yeah. As we see, he looks like he's halfway up the aisle, but he's going to continue. Let's play the audio for this.
This match has ended. We apologize. I've never. Why do you apologize for that? Well, that was the fans. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Well, I'm not. Yeah, fine. But people were expecting a Hell in a Cell match. And look at him. You're kidding me. The hell is he standing? Oh my God. He's got a smile on his face. For God's sakes. Are you kidding me? He wants to go back up. Mankind is going back up. No way. So is the Undertaker. No way. How can he climb? How can his body? Oh my God, the Undertaker's got the chair. This is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing here. Oh, a headbutt by the Undertaker and a right hand. Now, if he throws it over on the other side, there's...
I can't even watch it.
That's it, he's there.
All right, so now he went through the cage, inside the ring.
It's the chair.
Which is the more devastating bump.
Yeah.
For the purpose of the fact that, you know, the ring, like, didn't really give much. The table broke and you had some, I wouldn't say cushion, but it was Foley has said that the table landing was better than the landing on the mat through the cage, which apparently there was no plan for him to go through the structure into the ring. They didn't think that he was going to fall through it the way he did.
I feel so bad. His tooth went up his nose and all this other shit. But it's like...
I'll get to that in a minute, because I got a funny story to tell you about that.
But like, I have very little empathy. Like when they originally went on top to do the table spot, you could tell when they were walking together what was going in. That roof was caving in already. So what did you think was going to happen when they slammed it? I was like...
Yeah. Well, that was only a certain piece of it. I mean, you could see, as you're looking at the cell, it's cordoned off, you know, with like crossbars and things like that on the top of that ceiling. But, I mean, now it's made where the structure is,
look at that.
I guess, safer. Like, yeah, Terry Funk just got choke slammed out of his sneakers. His sneakers are still in the ring, which is great. Terry Funk, his role in this match was, I like that touch. They brought Funk out as Foley's friend, even though on TV they were kind of at odds. So yeah, by this point, like you said, you had to turn your head away, and his tooth went up his nose. Which, funny story.
Yep.
You know me, I'm a big action figure collector.
Yeah.
Mattel just recently came out with a line called the Defining Moments, and they're selling a Mankind King of the Ring 1998 Hell in a Cell figure, and they come with two different heads. One of them, he's got the mask. The other one, he's got a tooth up his nose.
It's crazy.
And without the mask, and thumbtacks attached to his back. Because later on in this match, you'll see Undertaker chokeslam Mankind through the thumbtacks. I I didn't purchase it. I had thoughts about it, but I was like, I don't need that figure. I've already made some purchases recently, but that was one of them that didn't make the list. It's a cool figure, but I was like, do I really need that one? I already got a Mankind, so and a Cactus Jack and a Dude Love and a Commissioner Foley, so I don't need that Mankind. But anyways, by this point now, you had trouble watching the bump.
Yeah.
Initially you were like, oh, like this is, initially you thought like, oh, he's a good actor. But now, is this the part where like, I would guess you could say you're uncomfortable watching because you realize how real the beating
at the time
he's taking?
I loved it.
At the time, yeah, same with me.
But now we read the stories of like what happens afterwards and all that other stuff. Like that between us and the listening audience and Kicking At It too, when they did the spot when he goes through the ceiling, I looked at you. I didn't even look at the TV.
Yeah, you did.
I just didn't. Then knowing what it did to him, and we probably lost as much as I love this match. And that we lost 3 years of Mick. I really do believe this match took 3 years.
Yeah, it took some years off him. Absolutely. But at the same time, you can make the argument that like he didn't slow down because he was still in very physical, barbaric matches.
Yeah. Yeah, you were there for the Hartford one, right? With him against H, right?
Yeah, him and Triple H in Hell in the Cell.
Yeah.
Which we've covered on this podcast before. All right, so I got a question for you. Yeah. So, at this point, do you think they went too far? Again, now he got thrown off the top. He got thrown through the cage. Do you think they went too far?
If I'm Vince, after Mick went through the cage, I would just say I would have gone to one of the referees, like, tell Taker, do the tombstone, get this over with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, now, here's the other question, too. This match, do you think this match set the bar for more violent style of matches in wrestling following this? Do you think it was like a major influence? Because if you think about it, like you have the TLC matches, the hardcore matches that they had put out with the hardcore division. Do you think that they tried to top themselves in years to follow with all those other matches?
I would agree that maybe they wanted more like Hell in a Cell matches and like maybe amp up the violence maybe. But with that being said, have an unsafe match like this, I've never seen anything like this. So they made, you can tell they made the cage more safe afterwards.
It was more, the structure was built a little differently.
So it's hard. It's like weird what I'm about to say, but like they made it safer, but yet more violent at the same time because it was more of these matches, kind of. But within the confine of the structure, though, they made it more safer. And
yeah,
get what I mean by that?
No, I do. Like the cage was built differently, so that like for instance, the final spot in the Cactus Jack Triple H Hell in the Cell match, the one I was at in Hartford at No Way Out 2000, February of 2000. Hunter does a backdrop to Cactus, and Cactus falls through the cage. But they had a piece of the ring. The wood boards were removed so that Cactus could safely land in the ring. They created this illusion that he fell through this big hole, etc. They had it done a certain way where they were safer about it. But what about like the TLC matches? Do you think this match was an influence to the TLC matches?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Without this match,
like, do you think a lot of those guys like Hardy's, Edge, and Christian, like when they saw this, they were like, all right, like you're putting all these ladders in here. We got to do something to kind of top what Mick did, or to kind of keep the audience engaged. As we see thumbtacks getting thrown out into the ring canvas.
I'll parlay that statement with there's no Edge spearing Jeff Hardy when he's
at WrestleMania.
That spot doesn't happen without this match. I'll parlay to say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? Explain in detail.
We just never like. Where people really just like threw caution at like their bodies, like even in hardcore matches, you can tell like they still protected their bodies, and people it was all about you use blood and stuff like that. You use the razor, you know what I mean? That you juice the right way, and it's all that other stuff. After this, man, people just threw, especially ECW. They threw a bunch of people say ECW influenced WWF. It also went the same thing. People, you can tell me, yeah, ECW had their ways in 95, 96, 97, but like they went off the fucking rails.
Following this?
Yes. At least my memory recalls.
So you think...
But what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to get at, people became way more unsafe after this match.
Okay. So you think that they tried to top, like, other matches, similar style matches, whether it was, hardcore, as we see.
Oh, man.
He's going to do the piggyback backdrop into the tax. It doesn't really get him too much.
Nah.
I mean, a little bit, but Mick, tries to sell it, and eventually we'll see like an Undertaker chokeslam to Mick through the tax, which is probably where I'll play the audio for that. Jesus, that one, yeah, that one really got me. Yeah, now it's even worse. He's setting up for the tombstone. I think we're getting towards the end of this match here. Gonna pick him up, but yeah, no, I do agree with you. I think people were influenced by this match in terms of like ramping up the violence factor, and you even said ECW kind of went off the rails following this too as well. So you think like you think ECW, in a sense, saw this match and was like, oh, no, they're trying to be crazy like us?
Yeah.
Like, no, we'll show them what it's really all
exactly,
about. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, I can get behind that theory. As Undertaker finishes Mankind with the victory here. Referees, doctors get involved. Some interesting stuff I wanted to share with you before we close this one out regarding Mick. It's been said in his book that when Vince approached him backstage after this match, he thanked Mick, was very grateful for his contributions, but told him, I never want to see you do anything like that again.
Yeah, no kidding.
And this was the turning point for Mick to start, and at least that's what he said in his book, to start figuring out when he's going to wind it down, his career. Originally, he was scheduled to retire at the end of 1999, but because of the injury to Steve Austin, he was asked to stay. But this also, in a way, if you think about it, this match is a blessing and a curse for him, because it was after this match where he kind of took a little bit of a break from these style of matches and introduced the Mr. Socko element to his character.
Yeah.
And he was doing the rock and sock stuff with The Rock, so you weren't getting as much of the hardcore Mick Foley character in a way. And this was this in a sense kind of softened him up. Do you agree?
Yeah. And after this too, you cannot make him a heel. He turned babyface. When he went through that cage, he went instant.
The fans appreciated what he did for them.
Yeah.
The sacrifice he made. I mean, he was still positioned as a heel on TV with Paul Bearer and Kane in that alliance, but it wasn't long after this that the people were really behind him, and then eventually he would become a babyface, and it was all because of this match. This is the match that not put him on the map, but this is the match that defined, in my opinion, put him in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, totally. And when you think
not to discredit his other work by any stretch of the imagination, but this put the stamp on it.
He had some great matches.
Yep.
But when you think Mick Foley and Mankind, then my mind goes straight to this match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, this is what he's associated with mostly throughout his career. All the interviews he's done, I'm sure, has been a lot of those interviews. This subject comes up. This match here. There's also another interesting fact here. Foley reached out. I mean, he was concussed pretty badly, but he was aware enough to reach out to his wife, and he called her and, just to let her know that he was okay. And Foley has admitted that finding out later through conversations with his wife told him that he was very incoherent and rambling. And that's when they realized that he's got to, like I said, he's going to have to kind of slow it down. Or maybe it's time to start discussing when it's time for him to retire from in-ring action.
Yeah.
So there was many good and bad that came from this for not only Mick, but just for wrestling as a whole. But when I think of Attitude Era, when I think of moments in the Attitude Era, this right here is on that Mount Rushmore.
Oh, totally.
Like there's maybe Austin doing something with Vince.
This Stunner, the original Stunner has to be the number one.
Maybe like his Stunner, his Stunner to Vince. DX, something with Sable, but like definitely like if you're gonna talk like greatest moments of the Attitude Era, this match and all these bumps as we're seeing the replay of the first one off the top of the cage definitely is on the Mount Rushmore of. Now we've talked about this on the Mount Rushmore of Attitude Era as we get done with this watch along here. I'm pausing it at 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 9 seconds because the match is pretty much over. But just to close this out, where does this rank on the Mick Foley Mount Rushmore of matches?
Oh,
like is it on there? Is it on there?
Oh, it just has to be.
Okay,
right?
so it makes the Mount Rushmore. So if it makes the Mount Rushmore, what are the other three matches in Mick Foley's career that you could say puts him on the Mount Rushmore?
All right. Michael's Mankind.
Yep.
I think that's my favorite one. So I'll go.
I love that one. We did a watch along of that. That was a great match.
Yeah, I think that's my number one favorite Mankind match.
Okay.
So yeah, Shawn.
Shawn Mankind, Undertaker, Mankind.
Oh, Edge.
WrestleMania?
Yeah, Edge.
Okay.
Yep. Edge Foley. And oh my God, honorable mention if not on there or in two, but Edge. The Edge one was a little bit better
with the fire.
Yeah.
The flaming table. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Orton.
Orton, Edge, Michaels, and Undertaker?
Yep.
Okay. That's safe.
Yeah.
I would say this match, obviously. I would put the Shawn Michaels match up there. I would put the Randy Orton match over the Edge match. Because
really?
I feel like the
opposite.
Randy Orton match helped make him a star. And he had a hotter angle than Foley and Edge. That's just my opinion. I thought Foley and Edge, albeit being a good angle, and the match was good. Everyone remembers the spot at the end with Foley and Edge, with the spear through the flaming table.
Yeah.
I don't think they remember much of... When people associate that match, that's the spot they associate.
Maybe that's my problem with the Orton match. You might be potentially right. I just don't... I remember it, but not like yesterday. I remember anyway. He did
the thumbtack spot with Orton.
Yeah.
He threw him off the stage through the electrical circuit board or whatever.
Yeah.
The barbed wire. I mean, him and Orton had a hotter angle. That's just my opinion. And I thought the payoff was great, and it made Orton a star. Not to take away the Edge match from WrestleMania, because I thought it was a great match, and it was. I think it was done for the benefit of elevating Edge, because Edge had the title for 3 weeks, and then they put him in the feud with Foley. The last match, it's a toss-up for me. It's either Cactus Jack and Max Payne versus the Nasty Boys from WCW Spring Stampede, 1994, the Chicago Street Fight, which if you go and watch that match, there's a moment in that match where Jerry Saggs from the Nasty Boys nails Cactus in the face with a heavy snow shovel. and then he takes him off the ramp and throws him off the ramp, and Cactus bumps back first onto the cold concrete. That, either of those moments you could argue was when Cactus Jack developed his first, or Mick Foley developed his first case of CTE.
Yeah.
It's either that match or it's the Texas Death Match with him and Vader from Halloween Havoc in 1993.
Yeah.
It's one of those two matches. Actually, I'm going to go with the tag match. Cactus and Max Payne, Nasty Boys, Spring Stampede 94.
I was focusing more on
WWE.
But
Okay,
anyway,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
But yeah, I'll still stand by my
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I dig it. And I dig you being here for this watch.
Yeah,
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Going back, watching this with a 25-year perspective, then and now. Thank you all for press and play, hitting download. If you want to watch this back with us on here, you can do that. Or if you just want to go back and watch it without our commentary, that's great too. But yeah, check us out, like us, rate us, review us on Facebook, Twitter, Retromania on Podbean. We're all over there. And our next episode, Dennis, I'm looking forward to it because it's the July installment of the Dennis J. Levy Wild Card, where you're going to give us something that, I don't know what you're going to give us, but you're going to give us something. Our last wild card was pretty fun. We watched the Al Snow Sabu match from an ECW episode. That was a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to what you got in store for us on our next episode. And with that being said, I think it's about that time that we officially put this one down for the 3 count, and we'll see you all next time.